I like the kind of content that you're making. What was the idea behind? I mean, why did you have to start to put the content that you're making right now?
So originally, why I decided to kind of turn my podcast in a different direction other than modeling, which is what I was originally
Yeah.
doing. I actually really, really, truly believe that I was seeing, scrolling through social media and seeing all of these influencers who were really being influenced by society. I had to really kind of check myself and say, I have a platform, and too
Mm.
many people with a big platform, especially the more numbers that they get, the more that they divide themselves into individuals who are now part of an agenda. And I think that what separates myself, what I want to separate myself from the world, really dictates on how I decide to use what God has given me. And I believe that, things can be taken away in a second. So why not use my platform for things that benefit people, things that help people, especially people that I'm able to relate to and empathize with? Because a lot of people will say, oh, like, you probably got everything by just being pretty and by that stuff. No, like, it took a lot of tears, hard work, commitment, like, and consistency. I'm talking about, like, after 12 and a half hours, I come, my 12 and a half hour IT job, I come straight to, podcasting 3, 4 hours. Sometimes my computer would crash out. I have to start all over again. I still have to cook for my house. I still have to clean. I still have to do all of these things. And people will not understand the hard work that is like behind everything, but I enjoy it so much because it's something that I'm passionate about. I'm able to talk to people like talk
Yeah.
to people like-minded or even not like-minded, and gain perspective, gain knowledge, and gain wisdom through it all. And I think it's just a really, really good way to grow as a person.
Sounds good. And when you did your first content and you put it online and you see all these numbers, were you amazed with it? Like you were amazed with it, or what was the kind of feeling you're feeling?
Yeah, actually, it was still to this day the my most viral video that has been out yet, which is crazy because I the only reason why I believe it blew up is because I feel like that was a sign that I was like, okay, this, how they say, like, sometimes you don't choose your job chooses you.
Yeah.
I really feel like this was one of those scenarios when I was able to look back and be like, wow, like, this is something that I believe it gave me an extra boost of confidence. Like, okay, like, keep going with this, and engagement will be guaranteed as long as you put in the work, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I believe of a lack, or you believe on putting on the work.
oh, I believe you gotta put in the work all the time.
Yeah.
And it feels better too, because when you have the results that you're looking for and it even exceeds your expectations, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, it feels better to me because I know the hard work that I put into it in the first place.
Um, a lot of people will be like, I pray to God. Where I'm from, a lot of people will say, I pray to God and I'm expecting a lot of things will come up. And of course, they try to do something, but they end up putting a lot of work to God, like God will do something. I mean, when you hear someone telling you stuff like that, like, yo, I think I believe in God, God will do this, God will do this. What's your take on that? Like putting a lot of work to God and doing less.
Well, I think what you said when you said that they expect God to do
Yeah.
it. Okay, we're not on God is not on our time. We are on God's time. And I
Okay.
think that's where a lot of people get mixed up and confused, where they think it's about to happen because it's what they want and what is, like, their agenda. And I
Yeah.
think that that's what's wrong with a lot of people today, is they think that, you know, they doubt how high and how wide God's vision is for us.
Yeah.
Something that we may think is a perfect plan may not really be perfect for us. It may not fit into what we are called to do. And I think that's what a lot of people get confused.
You mentioned earlier something like when you saw the numbers and you were like, maybe this is your calling.
Hmm.
What if you couldn't solve the number? You could still do the things that you're doing right now? Do you think
Um,
you would be still
no,
doing what you're doing?
yeah, I'm just ready to start a family, honestly. Um,
Okay.
I'll say this podcast, my IT cybersecurity job,
Yeah.
barbering, modeling, all of these things that I'm doing on the side, photography, like everything that I'm doing right now is going to be put on the back burner in however long it takes for me to really start a family and focus on that. Because at the end of the day, like what I really want to do, a lot of women will depend on a man for all the finances, like 100%, which, in a way, I do believe a man should lead in a
Yeah.
relationship, but I do also believe that if I am fit to work hard and be focused now,
Yeah.
then I'm able to collect and save all the revenues of income, maybe invest in properties, maybe put my money, in savings and invest in stocks or whatever the case may be financially literate. If I can do all these things while in the waiting process of my husband,
Yeah.
then when I do meet him, I'm able to say, this is the empire that I built. Now we can conjoin them together and build.
I saw one of the video you were talking about how women sometimes get money for men and feel like, I mean, they feel happy about it, and you feel you are telling them it will be better if they work on it. Like you go to work and you get money and it feels really good. And do you get a lot of negative comments from different women about this kind of video that you're putting on?
Um, I wouldn't say a lot of negative because I do believe that some women are, or majority of women are actually, they will talk trash about you like behind your back rather than in front of you.
Yeah.
A lot of women, I believe that have a negative outlook are they're more silent haters than loud ones.
Okay.
Yeah. But I definitely do get those all the time, like pygmy comments and all of those things. Like, yeah.
But never physical, like
Oh,
someone just
yeah.
comment.
Women don't, they're not bold enough yet. I know it will happen eventually, but right now, no.
Sounds good. I mean, the kind of knowledge that you're giving out there, is it, do you write it down before you just record the video? Like you write it down what you're gonna be talking about, or it's just something come up, like you know the topic, I want to talk about this topic today, and once you're there, is, I mean, turn on the mic, I mean, camera and everything's flowing, or you just write it down before?
Sometimes there's an itinerary for what I want to talk about. Like sometimes, especially because I used to work in a barbershop a lot,
Yeah,
sometimes a lot of men would come to me with problems that they have or with, what they're going through. And I tend to see a pattern of it. So I'm like, we should talk about this. But there are certain times where before a video, before a podcast and stuff like that, I have generalized topics to talk about, not necessarily scripted, but just like an agenda so I don't fall off track.
okay, so it's more, it depends with the mood at that moment.
Exactly. Or this is topic. Sometimes it's just freestyle though.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That sounds good. I mean, I like more of a freestyle. Like I go to the press and I like, I mean, I'm just kind of a person that my producer will write down the question, and sometimes I really ask the question that he want me to ask, but I like more when I'm free that I can ask the kind of question I'm feeling at that
Right.
moment. And yeah, and it kind of feels a
Hmm.
little bit happy about it. So I saw one comment from one of your posts. Someone said they think like he thinks you're very, very bright. How do you see yourself? You feel like obvious you're gonna say probably everyone sees themselves really bright, like they have enough knowledge. Do you think you still have a room of getting more knowledge or something like that by yourself or about any kind of things?
I think that there's always room to grow for me. I'm not gonna lie, when people like try to put me on this highlighted pedestal and stuff like that, I always tell them to take me off of it because I'm the most flawed person I know, honestly.
Yeah,
Like I hold myself to a standard of like I can always do better. I always catch myself in a self-analyzation process of like, okay, you may have messed up this time and this time, but you need to get better. You need to get better every day. So I would definitely say I do get a lot of comments where it's like, oh, you're doing your thing, you're wise for your age, you're only 20, all of these questions, all of these remarks and stuff like that. And yeah, it does feel good at times. But then when I am alone, when the cameras are off and the lights are off and it's just me and the mirror and God, I have to ask myself the question, are you happy with yourself? Yes, I am very happy with myself, but I know that there's still so much more to learn. I'm wrong a lot of the time, and sometimes, there's certain times where I'm not, the best person for representation in certain areas, but I want to get to that point. So it's really just a daily thing of growth.
Sounds good. I mean, it looks like you're one of the people that are taking a lot of time to have a self-evaluation about themselves, according to what you say. Tell me, how is it important to a person to, especially for maybe a man, a young man, a young woman who was in our age, to have that kind of sense of self-evaluation? Is it how important it is?
It's super important. But my love for myself does not come from myself. It comes from knowing that God loves me as well. And I think that that takes so much of a burden off of me because I don't have to. I'm a very devout Christian. My
Yeah.
roots are very strong in God. So I do believe that I would definitely not have made it without him. And I definitely would not be here today without the grace of God. And so I think that knowing that gives me so much relief. It's a unburdening process. And so when you learn to forgive yourself for the things that have happened and learn to continue to grow in the future, it's truly so important because you cannot truly love other people when you have not loved yourself.
I came across content from a couple girls who are talking about this kind of topic that men will come up with. They say they want all type of fashion woman who is ready to cook, ready to wash dishes, a woman who is ready to play 50-50 kind of thing. And women nowadays, a lot of women will say they don't like that. They like to, most of them though. I like one of this video. The lady there, she was saying like, "Yo, you are not an old type of fashion man. How can you handle an old type fashion woman, like a woman who's ready to chill and ready to do other stuff like that?" Do you think men need too much? Like men are looking for a lot of things, or like
Um, I think that men nowadays, modern men,
yeah,
what I'm referring to, I think a lot of men that I have seen in the society of, asking for, or a lot of the men that I have talked to
yeah, yeah,
specifically pertaining to this question that are kind of just looking for that, haven't really healed themselves. There are a lot of unhealed men and unfit to lead men that look for a completely healed and nurturing, loving woman and then complain, that they need to go out the country. If you need to go out of a country with millions of people in the country that you're in to find a woman, you might be the problem. However, I do think that this era and this generation has bred a lot of very soft people in general, demasculating men in particular, and trying to, with this whole soft guy era thing, 50-50. I don't believe in none of that BS. I really don't. But I do believe that there are so many ways that a woman is able to show her interest and show her appreciation towards her man. Whether it be cooking, a man could pay for the first date, but a woman should cook right after. A woman should be able to do all these things, massages, like all these things that outplease a man. Two givers should always try to outplease a man in a successful relationship. And I think that that's so important because honestly, like a lot of men will, that I have talked to specifically, have asked for all of these things. And talk to, I just mean in conversation.
yeah.
They will ask all of these things, but when you look at their life and how they live, you want to ask them, are you fit to lead a family that is ready to be led? You know, if they are now dependent on you, can you lead them to heaven? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you take all of your kids and say, you know, point them in the right direction, discipline them in the way that they should go, like teach them what they need to know in a loving manner? A lot of men, you know, might know how to lead, but do you know how to lead in love? Do you know how to discipline your kids, but still they respect you? You know, do you know how to do all of these things? And a lot of men fail to realize that there's so much more than just a woman submitting to you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, I really do believe that, you know, roles do help because two
Mm,
captains cannot steer a ship.
for sure.
However, I do truly, truly believe that it is not a dictatorship, it's a partnership. So,
So the word of God says, if you, I mean, you say you're Christian, right?
yeah,
There's a but Bible scripture. I don't know where. I mean, but I just grew up had hear people talking about it. They say that men should love their partners just like Christ loved the church,
right.
and women should respect. And I always ask myself, like, in terms of love and respect for a woman, like, does do women love? Like, if they love, what? Why Bible never commit, never tell a woman should love their man, like, you know, more like respect, like that. I always ask myself, like, is it a man looking for love or respect? I don't know. I mean, okay, I say I would like both. I would say,
Right.
okay, I would like a woman to love
Right.
me,
It would
but
definitely be nice for both, you know?
yeah, but. But which one do you think is the best? Like a lady loving a man or respect? Like which one is the best to go with as a woman? I mean, which one do you think a man will be happy to receive the most?
I think that love and respect should go hand in hand, but I believe that love has a fleeting definition for um, what it was originally intended for. Love is now a fleeting moment that a lot of people like to express, a temporary pleasure. However, love shouldn't be that. That's not the real definition of love. It's not unconditional. It's not all of these things that really are love. You know, love is patient, love is kind, love is all of these things, but people don't, you know, understand that when, you know, you have a crush and you're just, oh, I love him. You don't know what love is. Love is sacrifice. Jesus died on the cross and sacrificed his life,
Yeah,
you know, to pay for our sins. That's what love truly is, and a lot of people will use it as a fleeting moment. Um, but I will definitely stand on. I do believe that the discipline in respect is needed because when those fleeting moments happen, you are still steadfast in your commitment with your husband and your covenant with God. One thing I will say though
yeah,
is contractual marriage and covenantal marriage are two different things. Contractual marriage, as in it's more talking about finance, more you, their partner, and the government.
yeah,
Covenantal marriage is you, your partner, and God. It's a commitment far beyond, you know, just you having sex and signing a paper saying you guys are legally married.
yeah.
It's something that it's, you know, it's farther than your feelings. It's farther than the word love. And so I would say respect. Respect is definitely needed first.
I'll go with that too. Like someone will, someone might not love me, but if they show me respect, I really appreciate, and I'll be like, wow, this person is a decent person. I can go with that person for a long time. But if someone show me love and disrespecting the other end doesn't, I don't know, I cannot deal with that. So I think that sounds good.
Yeah. So
Um,
you being in media though, how is it like with your interactions with a lot of especially women in the industry? How is your experience with them?
I mean, my experience is good. In terms of what though?
I guess in terms of the dating world, in terms of when people see your, you know, that you're in the industry and stuff like that, how is your experience with them?
It's good. Um, of course, there might be some ladies can come around, but when I'm at work, normally it's more at work. if I'm interviewing a lady who's just happened to be one of the people that I have to interview or I have to work with at the moment, my first priority out there is the work. So it's no matter about work. Out of that, maybe, yeah, I can grab a drink and having a talk with some people, but normally it has to be more professional. I don't I don't go around the people that I see and work with. I just have to have that kind of gap. Like if I know you from work, then it has to be yeah. Like yeah, if you might be so beautiful, you might be wherever, but I'm out of that. I don't do a lot of people that I met around.
That's good.
Um, yeah, but yeah, I mean, you know, I guess in this world you meet people anywhere, and you never know. I mean, once you feel something strong for someone, maybe I never met someone in the industry that I felt so strong feeling that I want to involve myself to. So yeah. How about your industry? You've been doing fashion. How is it? Like you met a lot of people in the fashion industry, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people, a large pool of people who might want to pursue and stuff like that. But also the industry is filled with crazy people, you
Yeah,
know. There's a lot of very entitled people in the industry and a lot of people who expect just because they look good or, they have success or status that they're entitled to a lot of women's bodies, which honestly, in today's society now, in particular, women have given them, in general, women have definitely given them a reason to believe that it's rather easy now to get easy access. So coming from a standpoint of knowing that I'm not one of those women, it's a little bit interesting to have conversations with people that feel that they're entitled to um, a first night or a kid or touching somebody inappropriately and stuff like
yeah,
that, because honestly, like, you look on my left, there's people twerking and dancing on each other. On my right, it's the same thing. Like, they're just going crazy like all day.
yeah,
I was telling one of my friends earlier that there was actually a woman that I was talking to, just conversation, and she was going on a date, right? Super happy for her. But then I heard what she said, and it kind of threw me off. I had to pause and, like, let's sit down and talk about this for a second, because
What did
she
you
was
say?
like, well, she originally was like, I'm going on this date. I find this guy really attractive and he likes me and stuff. But I'm not going to, pursue him physically and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, do your thing or whatever. But then she was like, but, I'm just going to shave my downstairs just in case. And I'm like,
Okay.
sit down, like, fuck. But things
Okay.
like, yeah, like, hopefully she's not listening right now. But things like that, I'm just like, people don't, like, especially women don't understand the true value that they hold until they give it up and men start to see them differently,
Yeah,
and it's truly unfortunate that in a society where all of these women in the mainstream media have these the first time that they go viral is off of like a freaky song or something
yeah,
that over sexualizes themselves. Like,
yeah,
the industry is so bad, and it's neutralizing, or not neutral, it's normalizing a lot of people's perspective on what love is and what love should be.
yeah. So how do you handle those challenges? Like some, of course, like the way you say, men are entitled or whatever. A woman might be also attracted with you. Someone want to touch you just because they think like have more experience and more successful, and probably you might be admiring me. So if I touch you, it will not be really big deal. You might be like, oh my God, this guy just touched me. like, like yeah. I
um
mean, how do you deal with those kind of challenges?
I think that just knowing how to have a backbone and placing boundaries is a very important thing, because learning, I've learned very young that respect is far more valuable than lustful eyes. You will get so much farther in life, and if the opportunity presents itself and it's unmoral, then that's not an opportunity you would even want to be associated with in the first place. And so I think very strongly that, like, too many times, you know, whether a man makes me uncomfortable or whether somebody tries me or somebody tries to, you know, provoke me into a situation where I'm uncomfortable, it is just very, very important to stand strong and to remember that there's no reason to give these people ammunition to drag my name in the dirt.
Mm, I like that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Um, you mentioned something about the industry. I see a lot of video now goes viral. Someone might say something crazy at this moment about sex, about everything. Do you think the world right now is looking sex so much, like we're looking for something like, like someone, I saw the video. I'm not really, I don't hate her. I don't, like this lady, she say something about sex. Like the guy was asking like what is a good way to keep a man, and she definitely gone to the sex where like
Oh,
this is
wow.
how you gonna keep a good man. Do you think the world right now we are into more sex than other looking someone personality and other stuff? Do you think we're really consuming a lot of when we're going on the internet, like we are really more into sexual knowledge than um, consuming something nice as a nice content or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But I think that that goes into the question that a lot of people tend to ask: what is a high value man or what is a high value woman? And a lot of people, especially
Yeah.
podcasts, you know, they do their research and still get it wrong when they answer, "Oh, a high value man is a man with status and success." No, a high value man is a man that can lead a family and has the character to direct the family in which its way should go. And a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, you know, this is wrong. It's the worldly standard." The worldly, this is why the world is going wrong, because people are putting the value of these individuals to materialistic standards.
Mm,
That's exactly what is going on wrong with this world. Like, people are saying, "Oh, high value, high value, high value," and it's only things that can be taken away in split of a second.
yeah, for
You
sure.
know, and so I think that that's very important to learn, that these high value terms and stuff like that, it really should be that of a virtuous woman, that of a man of character, a man that can lead, a man that can, you know, submit under the umbrella of God. These things, which is truly important.
Let's say you're going to a date and you went to a date with a guy, and when you're just about to sit, you just found the guy is watching something like all this kind of sexual stuff and stuff like that. What would be your first impression about the guy? You just met him. You just met
Okay,
him. You have a date
wait, give the scenario again. I just met a guy and I'm
uh,
going into debt.
with him. Like you just, for example, you just get to know a guy for one day. Next
Okay.
day, he asks you for a date. You go to the restaurant. You found the guy already there. But when you're about to see it, looking at his phone, he's watching something sexually and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I'm not, I'm leaving.
You
I'm
leaving?
leaving. What? Date is over. Please. Text please. Like, no, we're not
Why are
doing
you
that.
leaving? Why are you leaving? Why not asking? Like, what are you
Because it's a
consuming at
first
this
date. First of
moment?
all, you shouldn't even be on your phone on the first date. These are supposed to be questions. We're supposed to be asking vetting questions on our first date, asking if we're compatible. And if your mind is distracted, clearly it's not on your future. It's on your temporary satisfaction and pleasure that you have going on right now. And that just puts your priorities in line for me. And I don't have any reason to be there.
Okay, that sounds good. Do you think the world is safe for having family right now? You mentioned you wish to have a family one day and stuff like that. And do you think the world is safe at this moment? Because I've met a lot of people who say that they are not ready to have kids because they think the world is not safe and they're not happy about it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah?
It's absolutely it's intimidating to see the way the world is going and to see what you want your kids to grow up around. Trust me, the laws that are happening, that are being in place with the parents are now not allowed to know or even have say. Even kids being taken out of their home if the kids feel like society has told them that they're the wrong gender, or all of these things.
Yeah.
And it's scary because it's like, how can my child be ripped away from me because my morals don't align with what society is teaching them, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I find it very hard to believe that, I find it very difficult in a world where it is completely collapsing, um, that I will be able to raise as many kids as I want, within the premise that I need it to go under the umbrella of God, and with the foundational belief that there are just certain things that are right and certain things that are wrong, and we need to make sure that we are awake. We are not foggy minded and delusional in the ways that we think and think in the ways of society in which we should go. Like, we need to be black sheep.
Yeah.
And I believe that as long as I do my due diligence, as long as I make sure that I am the best mother, the best wife, and I am not selfish enough to only pick the husband that I believe is attractive and all of these things, as long as I make sure that he is going to be a good father to
Yeah.
his children and a good husband to his wife and a good servant to God, make sure that all of these things, pray over my family, all these things. The only thing that I can do is do my best to make sure that, or make sure that I am the best woman that I could be. That is all I can do in this world of sin. Like, other than that, it is up to God. I think the Bible also says, teach a child in the ways that it should go,
Yeah.
and he shall never depart when he's older.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like the world is challenging at this moment. I feel like it's
yes, it
when you're about to think about having family, it's a very sensitive topic. You should talk with your partner and see if you're ready, and like the way you say, do your best as a parent, and don't, I mean, what other people do is their business, but as long as you are really into your business and you do it well, and God will help you to raise a kid.
right.
You mentioned about getting to know someone. What time do you think is better to start a family with someone? I mean, how long do you have to know a person until you say, okay, this is the guy?
I don't think I can answer that question too
Okay.
well, only because I've seen very successful marriages that people have known each other for a few
Yeah.
months, and then I've seen successful marriages where people have known each other for quite some years or a lifelong time, Like, I think it really depends. I think it's about discernment, and it's about asking the right questions in the beginning. I think it's about making sure that you ask those vetting processes and or ask those vetting questions, and make sure that the questions and the things that you do ask, you need to be able to see that person in all seasons, whether
Mm.
they're mad, whether they're sad, what they do when they feel uncomfortable or you irritate them, or when you're tired of them. Because when you see that person in all seasons, time is the true test.
Yeah.
They will eventually reveal themselves or slip up at least once.
Okay. But you're a Christian. I mean, do you think it's right as a Christian? Okay, I'm just asking you something about Christianity. Do you think it's right to have a partner before marriage, living together, doing all the things that people who are married doing for the sake of knowing the person? Like, I want to know this person when he works out. How does it look like? I want to know his behavior. So in order to know all this, I need to live with this person for a period of time. And do you think that's right as a Christian?
Well, I have to ask you, if you're doing everything within a marriage, or what a marriage pertains to, why are you getting married then? What are you looking forward to?
Hmm.
Like,
Well, yeah,
what is the point of marriage when you were already married? Now, I do believe sex is marriage,
for
the
sure.
unison part. I definitely do believe that. But I do also realize that, like, a lot of people want to be married before they're married just to see and practice a form of divorce.
Mm.
And that's what I think a lot of dating, that's what I think dating is, in this modern society, a practice of divorce. Whenever you're uncomfortable or bored or tired of that person, or the honeymoon phase has weared off and you're like, I just feel like we have nothing to talk about, then you want to move on to the next person.
But how will I know the behavior of someone when I'm not staying with someone? Like all this, what people say. Like I need to stay with someone to know it. Like, can you stay with someone without having sexual activities?
If you have self-control and discipline,
Okay.
yeah, I
So
think it's case by case basis. Some people can do it, some people can absolutely not do it.
yeah, I mean, I can do it, but
That's good. That's
yeah,
good. Can the
depends on
girl do it though?
yeah, depends on the person I'm dealing
Right.
with. Yeah. Um, I've been looking forward to have this live session because I wanted to ask you a few questions that I have, like the question about all this negative, if you receive negative stuff from people and all this. But thank you for the knowledge that you have shared. And I've seen a couple of questions from people here, and it's amazing that it's late in my time, but still I got some people around. That was okay. Um, so whatever, I mean, anything you want to say before we end the session or anything?
Um, yeah, well, I really appreciate you for, taking the time out at such a late hour to talk with me about these things. I feel like that, people don't use their platform enough to spread light and love into situations and, use their platform for good and positive light. So, you definitely, I appreciate you and your time.
Thank you so much. There are people saying that you're really you have wisdom than your actual age. Like they think like do you think it's right? I mean, people when they say older people have so much wisdom and young people their wisdom is kind of low. So when they see someone like you having all this wisdom, they think like it's not fitting together. Like your age and your wisdom is quite different.
Well, I will say shortly to give a backstory, like just a short summary. I did move out of my house at very, very early, like 14, 15 years old.
Okay,
So the process in which I grew up was a lot faster than most.
okay. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
But do you think it's fair for you though? Do you take those comments? I mean, those I don't know, it's compliment.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it, and it definitely, helps push me to learn more and to become more wise and to know the truth more than what I want to hear. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I can say you look young, so basically the wisdom is high than your actual age. I can agree with the people.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Safari. We had a
thank
good
thank
time.
you.
I wish you a great time. I guess we're gonna have this session later on. I mean, I don't know when we have time again. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. So many people, so many fun questions and all of that stuff. But I'm gonna end the live here because I'm heading to New York now. Fun! So, yeah, I hope everybody has a great day and a good night. And God loves you. God loves you. And I love you. So, bye.